welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for being here. Today I have some great Dollar Tree DIYs for fall. I know you're going to love them, and I'm especially excited because today's video is part of a collaboration with these amazing, talented YouTube friends, and we are getting together every other month to do a collaboration called What's on My List, where we send each other a little gift along with a shopping list. And this list will have 3 items on it, 2 more specific items from Dollar Tree, and then 1 section at Dollar Tree that we need to choose something from. And then we need to use those 3 items to create 1 DIY. And then we'll also be adding in some other DIYs as well. So my package this time came from Leonep from DIY Beauty on Purpose. And I have my package here and I'm going to open it up and see what's inside, and we'll see what's on my shopping list.
So here's my box from Leonep. I haven't looked in it. Here's my card. I'm assuming my list is in this. It says, "Hi Chantel, so excited to see what you do with your shopping list items. Number 1, a wood plank. Number 2, jute rope or string. And number 3, 1 bathroom item." Oh my, well, let's head to Dollar Tree and see what we can find. So a wood plank and jute twine I already have in my stash, so I am headed straight for the bathroom items. And I see face masks and washcloths and towels. Not sure what I can do with those. I also see that they have some soap dishes, and this could be something right here, this little bathroom caddy. Maybe that's a possibility. Oh, and I like these little jars. And also I'm thinking possibly something with shower curtain rings. I think I'm going to go with these. Okay, so let's put these things all together. I'm going to start with this wood plank. This is 11 inches by 5.5 inches from Dollar Tree. Also some jute twine, and of course my shower curtain rings that I picked up. I'm going to be using one of these little wood fall sayings from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the Hello Fall, and this package came with 6, I believe, different sayings in it, and so those are really fun. But for this one, I'm going to use the Hello Fall. I'll also be using some Spanish moss, as well as this little miniature sunflower stem from Dollar Tree. For paint, I'm going to be using just some orange craft paint. This one's a little bright, but it's the only one I have, so I am going to be kind of toning it down with some brown and some red to make more of kind of a burnt orange color. And then I will be using this Rust-Oleum chalk paint in Chiffon Cream. The reason I have it in a quart jar is because it comes in this little container and it's plastic, and the lid gets really hard to take off and really hard to put back on, and it just becomes a big mess. So I just decided put it in a quart jar, take the label off and tape that on the jar, and it's just a much cleaner way to deal with it. I'm going to start off by just sanding off any rough edges or splinters on my plank, and then I'm going to mix up my orange color, just using that orange and brown and red. And this is going to make more of a red orange, which is kind of the color that I'm wanting. And then I'm going to paint my entire plank using this orange color. Once that's dry, I'm going to take my Chiffon Cream chalk paint, and I'm going to do really heavy dry brushing over this orange. You can do as little or as much as you want, but I am just wanting white with the orange showing through. Next, I'm going to take 3 shower curtain rings and some jute twine, and I am going to cover these using the twine. So I'm just using some hot glue to start that twine, and then I'm going to wrap it all the way around my shower curtain ring. And then when I get to the end, I will just cut that off and secure the end with some hot glue. I'll do the same thing with the other 2 shower curtain rings, and then I just went out in my yard and got this stick, and I'm going to break off some little pieces for stems because I'm going to make these into little pumpkins. And I want the stems to be a little bit darker of a brown than the stick that I had, so I am going to just paint those with some dark brown paint. They were a little bit long, so I just used my miter shears and trimmed them down a little bit, and then used some hot glue to attach them to the top of my shower curtain ring. I'm going to take some leaves off of that floral stem and glue them on the base of the stems of my pumpkins. And then I'm going to take some of this berry garland and I'm going to cut some small pieces, twist them around, kind of make them curly, and then glue those up by the base of the stem as well. I think this berry garland just works perfectly for making little vines for these pumpkins. Next, I'm going to take those Hello Fall words and I'm going to paint them using some dark brown paint. And I just went over this with one coat, so it looks a little bit more like a stain instead of being just a solid coat of brown paint. So now it's time to lay out my sign, and so I'm just going to kind of play with all of the elements, and then once I get it to where I like it, then I'll glue everything down. I really like using Spanish moss, especially in fall DIYs. It gives it kind of that organic, natural look, and it looks kind of dried, kind of like things get in the fall. And so I think it works really well for fall crafting. And so now I'm going to add some of the little sunflowers and some more of the little berry garland and just kind of keep layering and building this until I like the way it looks. And then I'm going to use my hot glue and secure everything to the sign. And for a hanger on my sign, I'm going to use some more of that jute twine and just glue it to the back. And that's it. My challenge DIY is complete. Let me know in the comments what you think. Honestly, this did not turn out exactly how I had envisioned it. But I think it turned out pretty cute, and after having it a couple of days, it's actually grown on me even more, and I like it even more. So uh, let me know how you think I did with the challenge. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. And if you like Dollar Tree DIYs and DIYs on a budget, then consider subscribing because I do a lot of that here on this channel. And this video is part of a collaboration with some of my good friends here on YouTube. This month I am hosting this collaboration, and this is our What's on My Fall List collab. And so there is a link to the playlist in the description box below. So once you've finished watching this video, be sure to click on that link for lots more fall DIY inspiration and to see who I sent my shopping list to. Also be sure to stick around to the end of the video to see what gift Leonep sent to me. For my next DIY, I'm going to be using this galvanized mason jar shape from Dollar Tree. And I'll be using this Farm Fresh wood saying from that same package that I used in the previous DIY. I'm also going to use one of these little Harvest DIY pins in the little truck shape, and some of this black and white checked ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I'm also going to be using some twine that I'm going to just wrap around the top of the mason jar and then just tie it off in the back. I will be using some acrylic craft paint in these three colors. The blue is called Cascade by Folk Art, and then the other two are just an orange and a dark brown color. I think I got those at Walmart or maybe Dollar Tree even. And I'm also going to be using a black Sharpie. These little DIY pins, as they call them, actually have little clothespins on the back, and I am going to leave that on. And then I'm going to use my black Sharpie to color in the window and also the tires of my truck. Then I'm going to take my Cascade blue paint and I am going to paint the body of the truck. And I did do a couple of coats of paint on the blue, and you can still see the lines of the detail of the truck through the paint a little bit, and that's good because we're going to use that as a reference to draw those lines back on. Next, I'm going to take the brown paint and I'm going to paint those sides of the truck. So like it would be wood on the back of the truck that would be holding the pumpkins in. And I'm going to use just one coat of paint. So again, it looks kind of more like a stain than actually painting it a solid color. Next, I'm going to paint my pumpkins orange, and I'm just giving these one light coat of paint. This is going to add a little bit of color, but still let those lines show through and give the pumpkins the detail. Oh, and I did paint the stems of the pumpkins using the brown paint as well. Once the blue paint is completely dry, I'm going to use my Sharpie to draw in some of the details. And like I said, you can kind of see the lines through the paint, and so I'm just going to use those lines as a guide. For my words, I'm just going to use an off-white chalk paint and paint the top side of these. These words are kind of stained on the edges, and so I kind of like that, and I'm going to leave that. So I'm just carefully painting just the top. Next, I'm going to attach my words and my little truck to the galvanized mason jar sign. And hot glue doesn't stick real well to this. It just kind of pops off of the galvanized surface. And so I am going to be using some E6000 and then add just a little hot glue to hold it in place while the E6000 dries. Next, I'm going to take my black and white checked ribbon and I'm going to create a bow. So I'm just going to loop my ribbon back and forth until I have 4 loops on each side, and then I will put a loop in the center. Then I'm going to use a black pipe cleaner or chenille stem to tie through the center of the bow and twist it tightly just to secure it all together. And then I'm going to kind of play with my bow and fluff it up a little until it looks nice and full. And then I'm going to attach it with a little bit of hot glue to the top corner of my mason jar sign. And look how cute this is. I think this would be so fun to hang in your kitchen for fall, to just put little reminder notes on or even hang a recipe from. This next DIY is simple, but I love how it turned out. I am using this little ladder that I picked up on my last Dollar Tree haul. It's so farmhouse and so cute. And then I'm going to be using some of this amaranthus. These are just some that I had left over from another project. And I'm going to be using the leaves from one of these pumpkin stems. I'll also be using these little miniature pumpkin picks that come in like a 10 pack from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using my favorite fall ribbon that Dollar Tree carries, this little burlap ribbon with the leaves. I used the pumpkins from one of these pumpkin stems in a different DIY, so I had these leaves left over and I'm going to use those to add to the little bit of greenery that's already on this sign. Next, I'm going to place some of these little pumpkin picks in, and you'll notice I'm working kind of in threes. So I added 3 leaves, I'm adding 3 pumpkins, I'm going to add 3 stems of the amaranthus, and that's kind of a rule of thumb in working with florals that you use threes of things, and that just kind of gives you the composition that looks more natural and just looks better. Now that I have my pumpkin picks glued in, I'm going to add those little pieces of the amaranthus, and I am putting 3 in, but I did do 2 in the burgundy and 1 in the kind of orange and yellow color, just to add a little bit of variation. I didn't want to use 3 of each color because I thought that would just be too much. And then I just made a little bow with my burlap leaf ribbon and attached that at the base of all of those florals. And as you can see, it really didn't take that much to just really dress up this little sign from Dollar Tree. And I love how it turned out. This DIY is not a Dollar Tree DIY, but it is very budget friendly. I found this at Hobby Lobby. Regular price is $7.99, but it was on sale for 40% off, so I got it for like $5. And I am going to actually substitute the leaf for one that I got from Dollar Tree that I already had in my stash. I just like the shape of it better, so I'm going to use it instead. And if it didn't have the monogram on it, I would just use that pattern that's already on it. But since it has the monogram and I don't want that, I'm going to be covering it with this piece of scrapbook paper that I had in my stash. I'm going to paint my letters using some truffle colored chalk paint by Waverly, and then I am going to take some colors that are in my scrapbook paper, and I actually mixed that blue and the green together to kind of make a color that was closer to the color in the paper. And then I'm going to use an old toothbrush and I'm going to dip it in some water, then I'm going to dip it in my paint, and then I'm going to flick the ends of the bristles so that it splatters on my letters. And if you're not used to doing this, I would recommend practicing on just a piece of paper until you get the, the splatter look that you like. To cover my leaf, I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to paint a good coat of Mod Podge on my leaf and then place my scrapbook paper on top. I'm going to press it down well, making sure to get any bubbles or wrinkles out, and then I'm going to let that dry. Once that's dry, I'm going to cut off some of the excess using my scissors, and I'm not worried about getting this precise because I am going to then come back with a piece of sandpaper and then just go around the edges in a downward motion all the way around my leaf, and this is going to trim the excess paper off right at the edges of the wood and give it a nice clean look. And I did put this scrapbook paper on both sides of my leaf. You could even put two different ones on there, so you had the option of two different patterns. But I really like how this turned out, and it was less than $6 to make this. So I think this will be really fun to set out for fall. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel and helps more people see my videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And remember to hit the bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you to all of you who have stayed to the end. Let's now open my gift and see what Leonep has sent to me. And actually, you've already gotten a sneak peek of this in the video because I used it for part of my staging. Isn't this beautiful? I love this. It's so cutely enough. It's perfect for decorating for fall. So thank you so much for sending this to me. I will put the link to Leonep's channel in my description box, so be sure to head over and check her channel out. And don't forget to click on that playlist and see all of the videos from all of my wonderful friends. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.